Hello everyone and welcome back to some more Dark Souls 3 PvP. Today we are just going to be doing some miscellaneous fights, testing some odds and ends. I have not warmed up yet, so I will probably be having a very spectacular death. Oh, Yorm's Great Machete, nice. That weapon, when used properly, that one really gets me. Had I not double rolled, that could have been a bad thing. So defensive. He's wanting that parry. What? There we go. He was trying to bait that parry so hard. So hard. Chances are he had a Hornet Ring on and was going for a one-shot, which he would have gotten had I actually been parried. So, the goal of today, we are going to test out some other things, other tricks that we can pull off. I do want to mess around with the Great Axe a tad. Now that that is upgraded, I want to play with it. We also will most likely switch over to my other build, my Muscle Mage. More muscle than mage, unfortunately, due to the way that casting spells is in this game. It's too slow to really be a viable option in most cases at the moment. And that's just my opinion on it. Don't get me wrong. But that is my opinion on the matter. So, that said, it does have other weapons that we will be playing with, and I am excited to try that out. But the goal of it... What buff is that? I think that's the bleed buff. Yeah, that's the bleed buff. Damn. No? My god. Whoop, that's gonna be... Ooh. I thought I would have had that parry. That bleed is insane. Oh my god. The 2-hit stun on that did 2/3 of my bleed bar. That is ridiculous. That is just absolutely ridiculous. Wow. That's crazy. That is an insane amount of bleed. I'll get one eventually. Couldn't even get onion, bro? Come on. There we go. See? Not hard. You just have to find one that works. That bleed, though, I can't get over that. What curved sword was that? In a way, it looked like the Pontiff Knight curved sword, but that doesn't have bleed scaling, so did he infuse it? But if he infused it, he couldn't buff it as well. That said, I know there are some weapons that don't show them having bleed as an effect, and they do cause bleed. One of them being this one right here, actually, the Pontiff Knight Great Scythe. It doesn't say that it does bleed, but it actually does do bleed. So, I'm assuming that that's going to be the same with the Pontiff Knight curved sword. Pontiff Knight, not knife, Knight curved sword. Which is interesting. If that's the case, both Pontiff Knight weapons will be causing it without having it listed. Let's actually put that one on real quick. I want to see what it looks like. Because if it looks the same... And then close, but not quite. So what one was it then? I'm not quite sure which sword he used. I think it might be ones that the skeletons use. Although they use falchions, don't they? I'm not sure then. No shame in admitting that. I don't know all the weapons yet. I'll get it sometime. Eventually. That looked like a flamberge. From a distance. Because it is a flamberge. Whoop, that got me good. That got him good. Oh. I didn't expect him to just stand, I expected him to dodge. I deserve that, really, I really do, but I expected him to attempt to dodge at the wake up instead of just going for an R1. I also feel like the wake-ups in this game are very quick, which is something I definitely need to get used to. I also wish that there were... Wow, my elbow looks funky. I wish that there were a pair of gauntlets or gloves or something that covered more of my arms. You know? Can't get the fashion quite right this time around. I don't know why. And yeah, the fashion I had prior with this, it looks good, don't get me wrong, but everyone's wearing it. Like, it's so stupidly common, and it's honestly kind of annoying to see it over and over and over. Washing pole. Alright, Olivia, what do you have for me? Pulled out the cestus in the offhand. That's the parry strat right there. Some things don't change. Ooh. Didn't have the stamina for the parry. I attempted, and there was just nothing there for it. Oh, the range on that is so stupidly large. Stop being so defensive. Seriously, Olivia. I bet if I stand here, it'll take at least 10 seconds for her to come close and actually attack me. I think that was at least 10 seconds. Meta weapons out of 10. Washing pole, Goddard's swords, and a rapier. Sards. Goddard sards. English is hard. Oh, man. Defensive play with top-tier weapons. Some things just don't change, to be perfectly fair. At least Olivia was not using an S-stock. I will say that. At least an S-stock was not in play. Because if there was an S-stock, then that just would not have lasted nearly as long as it did. But yeah, these things, their range is stupidly good. Their damage is stupidly good. And that rolling L2 comes out extremely fast. That with a Leo ring, I mentioned it last time, super dangerous combo right there. We'll probably switch over to the Executioner's Greatsword in a minute or two. I want to get more fights in with my halberd though. Katanas! Katanas! What is this, Dark Souls 1? Everyone's using a katana. Come on, man. Using a katana. You gotta be close. Come on. Yeah. That charge dart 2 paid off. I just barely clipped him with it as he was coming in. That was a really stupid move on my part, in all honesty. But it paid off, so. Are you using a katana, Johnny? Please don't be using a katana. I say as he will probably be coming in with an S-Stock. Let's see what we want to use. In a way, I wish I had the stats for this, because it sounds really, really kind of cool. I should mess around with whips. I just don't have them upgraded at the moment. Depending on what this guy's using, we might switch weapons. Oh, curved sword. Yeah, we'll stick with what we've got, I suppose. A curved greatsword. Now there's something we don't see every day. The didn't want to jump right then. Ooh. No, you're not gonna come at me on that? There we go. Yeah, curved swords do scare me. Very, very much. They're very quick, and they can do some really nice looking combos, but those combos, they hurt. They hurt a lot. Any paired weapon has combos that are extremely damaging in this game. Well, maybe not any, but they all have the ability to do a lot of damage. Even something as simple as the Brigand's twin daggers, those ones, when properly set up, can be extremely scary. So that's enough of that. Let's switch over to the Executioner's Greatsword. Yeah. Although Drakeblood actually has higher damage for us, higher attack rating. That's that it'll deal lower damage due to split damage and whatnot. Get in here, Bob. Fine, don't get in here. I see how it is. Bob just doesn't like me. I suppose I can accept that. We picked up the Evelyn. Haven't messed with that yet. That's not what I wanted. Do I want to switch the longsword out for something? Mailbreaker. I can be obnoxious with it. Also, it's a minor detail, I just didn't address it the last time. Or ever up till this point, actually. I enjoy the fact that scabbards and sheaths are back. I enjoy that fact very much. Not sure what buff that is. Are you gonna come down and fight me? Oh, Goddard swords. Swords. Oh, come on. Yep. Good job, 10 out of 10. See, I'm not shocked by stuff like that, because when they're using that weapon, and they're buffing, the buff damage applies to each of the weapons. And the combos that they do silly damage as is. In a way, I feel like certain buffed weapon, or certain paired weapons, should not be able to be buffed. Goddard swords are one of those cases where I feel like it would be a better weapon if it was not able to be buffed. I feel like it would be, you know, a little bit less silly. Just a little bit. Like, I'm okay with a weapon dealing occasionally silly damage, but, you know, its attack rating is deceiving in this case. And that's the way it is with most paired weapons. The attack rating is deceiving. With this one, the attack rating is just through the roof, and that's because of all the split damages. But even still. Due to timeout? What's that mean? That's a new message. Did they get timed out or something? Huh. Alright, so... do I want to mess with the Exile Greatsword? It's not fully upgraded. Let's mess with the Dancers. That makes me too fat, though. So let's mess... I mean, that would make me fat, too, don't get me wrong. Yeah, well, we'll mess with the Dancers. We'll switch this off. Why do I have this on? And this is actually useless to me now, so let's switch that super quick. Ah, Cestus. Excuse you, I didn't want that. Okay, maybe I do want this. That range. He's trying to bait it. He's trying to bait the parry. That's what he's going for, and he's got a Hornet Ring. Assaulting you with a whip from range, because it's got stupid range, and then baiting a parry. That's another issue. Cestus, there's no reason that that weapon of all things should have as good of parry frames as it does. It's pretty much on par with a parrying dagger at the moment. There's no real reason that that should be a thing. I mean, just my opinion on the matter, just my 2 cents, but there's no real reason that the Cestus should be a go-to parrying tool more than it is a weapon. And still, I'm not a fan of curved swords. Something about them in this game, and I know what it is, it's the short range that their running attacks have. I mean, it cuts you short so quickly. I mean, the running L2 is better with this case, but even still, I don't know, something about it. Not overly fond. At least not yet. And then another Hornet Ring. I'm catching on to the meta here, I guess. Everyone likes parries and Hornet Rings. And this is partially the reason why I hated the Hornet Ring, because it leads to this playstyle. That said, though, something we'll have to just deal with. One thing that will definitely help out with that is when I get this build to its proper level, then I won't get one shot because I'll have a lot more health. because 50 for health is going to be, you know, kind of a nice thing to have. The amount that I have at the moment is just too low to not get one shot. And I still just don't like these things. I'll keep trying them, but I'm not a fan. I'm not fond of them. And really, I should have tried that out and figured out I didn't like them before I upgraded them using my Titanite scales. But hey, they look cool. So you can't summon someone you can't Ember once you've summoned someone. You're locked in because of health matching and whatnot. Not really health matching, but stat adjustment that takes place. Dragon Slayer Spear, haven't actually seen someone use that yet. No follow up on that. Really, I was out of range on that second R1. How the hell was I out of range on that thing? Curved swords. I don't get them, man. I don't get them. They're not for me. I'll stick with my halberd class weapons. Thank you very much. That said, we're actually going to go to the war pick. I misspoke last time. It does have galvanize, not perseverance. Boosts stamina regeneration. Let's actually use one of these real quick. And we will put back on the halberd, and we'll swap this off for the Leo. And we'll go with this. Oh, hornet rings. Some things don't change. Some things should change, but some things don't change. I spy a parrying dagger. I spy a katana. $5 says it's going to be Chaos Blade. It's not. Queued rolls. Thanks for the backstab attempt. That's totally what I wanted. And katana running attacks. No shock there. He's using the fashion that I was actually debating on using myself, but I ended up not liking the way it looked too much. So yeah, everyone is going for parries and using parrying tools. And that said, they're all using the Hornet Ring. I'm sure he was as well. It's a minor annoyance. Because if you don't play perfectly against that sort of playstyle, then you get in trouble. And I see the need for that playstyle. I do see why it arose. And that's due to all of the longsword and Estoc and rapier R1 spam. It makes sense. But it's still an annoyance to deal with for literally everyone who is not using those things. I don't know. I just want to use my war pick. Just want to use my war pick and my halberd and not get one shot all day long. Weapons need some balancing. And that's fine. It'll happen. It'll get taken care of mostly. In theory. I hope. Either way, we're stuck with it. We have to take it for what it's worth, learn to adapt, and roll with the punches. So, yeah. It's already getting kind of late in the video. We'll switch over to my other build for the next video. How's that sound for a plan? Is that the Historic Greatsword? No, that's not the Historic Greatsword at all. It's the Spam Run Attack Greatsword, that's what it is. Hello, range. Those can get parried a lot of the time, by the way. It's a very telegraphed attack, too, from the longswords, which is very nice. You can just parry them on reaction. If you'd gone for an R1, not even a skill stanced R1, I suppose you would say. If you'd just gone for a regular R1, I would not have had that parry. See, this guy's name is Thorn, and I had mentioned this in the last video. This guy's name is Thorn. Thorn. The H-O is being blocked out, and yet the word ass does not get blocked in any way. What is that about? We have a Greatsword. Flamberge again. Oh, hello, lag. If he had followed up, he would have had me. Ooh, the jump attack. I saw it coming. I thought it was going to be a run attack, so I just was like, oh yeah, that's going to be a run attack. And I reacted. Shame on me. I feel like everyone's weapons do so much more damage than mine. I don't know why. I mean, I realize that they don't. C++, I like that guy's name. I fought that guy already. Come on, give me a fight. There we go. So, yeah. I need to get a little bit better at dodging, I suppose. I also feel like backsteps, again, are going to be more similar to Dark Souls 1 backsteps, where they do have invincibility frames, but they are very, very few frames, as opposed to Dark Souls 2 backsteps, which is backstep souls all day long. A scythe! My friend, you're using a scythe. That's something I don't think I've ever seen anyone use yet. You have no idea how happy that makes me, Alan. That said, that's why people don't use scythes. And that's why you don't waste stamina. That was good, though. I struggled to get him at the end. I liked that. I need to upgrade a scythe, I think. That'll probably be one of the next things I work on. I swear, this guy, Largo the Poet, he's here all the time, whenever I'm playing. Like, every single time without fail. Yeah, I'll probably upgrade my great scythe next time. Alright, let's try this thing out. And then after this, we'll mess with the Great Axe some. Oh boy, that weapon. This thing scares me. Yeah, that's why this thing scares me. That said, he used it as just a spear. He didn't go into the two-handed at all. That's actually a little bit disappointing. That weapon does really good when you alternate two-handed and one-handed because of the different movesets that it's got. I mean, clearly it was effective for him because I'm horrible at dealing with spears, and always have been and probably always will be. Hint, hint to anyone ever wanting to get an easy win on me. Use a spear, and you will have no problem. Any Souls game, doesn't matter, use a spear. And I will die a most painful death. I need to be more patient in PvP this time around. That's the thing that's really bothering me, because patience is the key to winning in this game. And I haven't quite mastered the art of aggressive play for this time yet. So, as such, I'm struggling a tad. Katana? Which one? And Ornstein's armor. Hi. It's long. I'm thinking Chaos Blade. That's that I'm always thinking Chaos Blade. Yep. Called it. Oh, come on. Ooh, that dodge. That's gonna get me good, though. Oh, the range on that. If I had rolled another time instead of trying to stop two-handing the weapon, maybe I would have gotten away. But the range on that surprised me nonetheless, so I probably would have still been kind of screwed. That's fine. Let's switch over to the Great Axe. Mess with that for a tad. And just so we can actually, you know, have a backup weapon, we'll put on the S-Stock, just mech? Mech? No, it can't be my mech. My mech, yeah. It cannot be the mech that I know. If it is, that's going to be a wonderful thing. It'll be a great, fantastic fight of all sorts of goodness. I'll switch this off. Just in the event that it is. Not that one. Where's my longsword? Oh, Walner's sword. That damage, though. You know what that reminds me of in a way? There was a boss in Dark Souls 1 that was it was removed from the game. It was supposed to be in the point where the Abyss Watchers were. Something about the way that armor was, the way he was dressed, it reminded me of the art for that boss. I need to get used to the fact that it's not horizontal slashes anymore. I'm not overly fond of it, in all honesty. Nikolai, you're gonna buff up, I can already tell. That's the Astora's. That's Astora's greatsword. Aw, man. I thought he was going for the charged R2 or an R2 instead of the L2. They look too similar, you can't really differentiate the two apart from each other. It's good to know. It's very good to know. It's just really kind of annoying how there's not really a tell between which one's which. I think the foot position is slightly different, so I think that's how you tell. But even still, that's difficult. That's sneaky. So, let's see. I need to upgrade these. I need to... We're at that 37-minute point. You know what? Screw it. We're just going to make this an hour-long video. Just because why the hell not? Which sword is that? I can't tell from this distance. Ah, that would be Lorian's sword. A very cool sword, actually. Death. Lots of R1s. Apparently, and the reason I kept trying to parry it, apparently you can parry heavy weapons when two-handed, except for certain attacks. Charged attacks being those certain attacks. That's what I've been told. Not quite sure how true that is. I haven't tested it or looked up any videos. I know Judas made one testing information similar to that. Testing that information exactly, actually. I know he's got one. I haven't watched it yet because I haven't gotten around to it. I've been busy, and when I'm not busy, I'm making my own content. And when I'm not making my own content, it's uploading and killing my internet connection. So it's like, I don't have time for this. I need to make time for it so I can learn a bit more. I will admit that. It's my own fault for not doing so, in a way. But that's okay. What do you have for me, Rin? Didn't have stamina to roll. Surprised we both went for that attack and we both missed. Ow! I thought I'd be out of range. I forgot how far that went. Wow. I'm not doing good today, guys. I'm not doing good. And yes, I could use faster weapons and I'd be successful and start winning fights. But that's not the point of this. The point of this is to learn and so you guys can see me die horrible deaths. I mean, I think that sounds like a good time. You guys might enjoy it more if I got frustrated. Maybe I should act frustrated. I'm not frustrated. This is all expected. It's what happens when you pick up a new weapon in a new game and you don't know how to work it properly. It's not that I don't know how to work it properly, so to speak, though. I mean, I do understand, the basic concept of it. I'm just trying to figure out how to make it mesh with the playstyle I prefer to use. And that's where my issue is. I like having an aggressive playstyle. You guys know that I like that. And I like to use strength weapons more often than I like to use dexterity weapons. It's a conflicting preference with weapon choice right from the get-go. So, it's difficult. That's going to do a lot of damage, though. Not as much as a halberd, ironically. Come on, Olivia. There we go. Yeah, surprising that this weapon didn't do as much as a halberd did. Halberd class weapons always have dealt a lot of damage on criticals, though. That's always been a thing, so it's not terribly shocking. It's not upgraded to +8, which is where I like my weapons to at least be. But we'll try this out. We'll give it a shot. And we'll see how we like this curved greatsword. The Exile Greatsword is a really cool weapon. I like its moveset that it's got. Its R2s, they're okay. They're nothing terribly unique. But it's L2 into R2. That is fun. We've got a buckler, you have a katana. Oh no, he switched to Goddard sword. So yes, 2 hits, and I'm down that low on health. And now he's trying to cheese me like a little jerk. That said, it's a very predictable playstyle that he's rocking at the moment, with the only L2s. So you can't rely on that exclusively with a weapon like that. It doesn't work well because the person will know what you're attempting to do. Case in point. So, it is what it is. So, this weapon, I'm decently fond of it so far. It's treated me well in that singular fight where I barely did anything special with it. I wish I had 50 strength. I wish that I did. I'd play with that. Is my greatsword upgraded on this build? It is. But man, I'm fat. Ah, storm curved sword. Or whatever it's called. No. The run attack spam is what we're going with this time. Okay, good to know. Cool. I expected run attack spam, so I went for a jump attack after he did his run attack initially right then, expecting him to be rolling away or running away in some form. But instead he went into R1 spam, which caught me in the jump attack, let him get that massive combo on me. I failed a parry, if I'm not mistaken. I think at least I attempted to go for a parry. I don't know, it all happened too quickly and I got super wrecked. Yeah, I attempted to parry his L2, but the timing didn't come off right. If he had gone for another R1, it might have, but he had a slight delay to it by going for the L2 instead. I don't know. Curved swords, I can't get used to using them myself. I mean, I see how well they can work for people, I get that. I just don't, I just don't like them. It's not my thing. And you're using curved swords, shocking. It's as if I was just talking about them. Bad range. I do like that stance. And I do like that I get stupid amounts of hyper armor with this weapon. That's one of the big saving graces of a lot of heavy weapons. You get stupid amounts of hyper armor. So that's a really good thing. That said, some weapons that should get more hyper armor don't get it. And the Great Axe actually is one of them. It does not get as much hyper armor as it needs. It's a close range weapon. It's got really short range. This is not a short range weapon, guys. This one right here is not. That said, it gets a lot of hyper armor despite not being required to be super close to your opponent in order to hit them. Great Axe, you're needing to be pretty much right on top of them in order to do any real good stuff with it. It's got a higher attack rating. It's higher in terms of it being upgraded. But still, you get the idea. You get what I'm going with here, guys. I feel like hyper armor balancing needs to be slightly adjusted on certain weapons. So, what do you have for me? I spy a longsword, if I'm not mistaken. Singular. Buffed up with Sunlight Blade. Buffing up with yet another buff. Are you going to throw on a third like a lot of other people are doing? And a parrying shield. Shocking. Yep. See, that's another issue. A buffed weapon does a lot of damage, and that's fine. But buffs require you to have certain amounts of stats in other things aside from what you're using to focus your weapon in. And this is Dark Souls 1 style right here. You can't buff an infused weapon, and that's okay. That said, buffs are a bonus to your damage. They're not a requirement. In a way, I feel like they should be a requirement, not a bonus. Just my opinion on the matter. But for builds that have the ability to buff... Good job facing the wrong direction on that. That's going to kill me. Should have gone for a rolling R2 instead. That would have thrown off his timing. Most people don't expect the rolling R2s because most people don't use them. I always forget that they exist myself, in all honesty, until after a moment when I realize, oh, I should have used that instead. Whoops. It's just something you need to get used to. Simple as that. It's just something we need to change and get used to. But yeah, buffs. The topic of buffs. I don't know. Like, the way I'm explaining it really isn't the way that I mean it, I suppose. Like, think about it like this. Say I was, instead of a quality build, say I was a faith build. I was focusing strength and faith. And with that, I am using a weapon that I need to infuse that I feel like buffing. Or say I'm using a weapon that I feel like buffing. I feel like if you were pure faith, then a buff should be a requirement for damage in a way. Me. Okay, Solar. What do you got for me? Wow. Horrible failure. And that's a Hornet Ring, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Horrible failure right there. Why did I try and block a kick? Why did I try and block a kick? This isn't Dark Souls 1. See, that's another thing I'm running into. That's another issue that I personally am running into. In this game, I'm attempting to block kicks because I'm thinking, oh, it's a kick, and I'm reacting with Dark Souls 1 habits. The movement in combat is, in a way, so similar to Dark Souls 1. It's bringing back old habits. Blocking kicks being one of them, expecting to be able to poise through hits being a second. Hyper Armor does allow for some tanking through hits, but blocking kicks is just completely stupid, and I keep doing it. Like, I don't know why I keep doing it, but I just keep doing it. It's a horrible decision. Don't ever do it. Unless you're using a great shield, and then you can get away with it because they're broken. But still, don't block kicks. It doesn't work well. It's a bad idea. I wonder if you can parry them. Huh. There's a thought. And I'm not saying parry as in it would put them into a vulnerable state so you could get a riposte on them. I'm just saying parry them as a way to mitigate the fact that you would be guard broken or pushed. It's a thought. It's an interesting one. Hi. Mr. Meme. Ooh, you were just out of range. Speaking of range... That's gonna get me, though. Nope. And that's the difference that going for an R2 on the roll will make. If I had gone for the R1, he probably would have parried it. Parries do affect you in a 360-degree manner, by the way. I don't know if I've mentioned that yet. That is, in fact, a thing, though. So even if you have your back to an opponent, and you parry, you can still get that off, no problem. That said, I'm liking this greatsword. I am in fact enjoying it very much. I like the guard too. The fact that you can actually tell you're putting the back of your hand on it. What are you using? Is that a bastard? It's either a bastard sword or a claymore. I can't tell which quite yet. So yes, that answers my question about kicks. If you parry, it mitigates the effect of the kick. That's gonna get me good though. Slight delay after he rolled to get the turn on that. Works well enough. Some things do, however, continue to work across games. That's a little habit I picked up from Dark Souls 2. Something I actually learned from Dropout Dragon and Strike Phoenix. They have a really awkward playstyle, those two, where occasionally they'll just get up all in your face and not attack. And this was something from Dark Souls 2 that I had to deal with. They would get up all in your face and not attack, and then whenever you would roll or go to get away from them, then they would R1 and catch you in the middle of your roll or something like that. So, similar strat applies. Something that's been possible since Dark Souls 1 is just I never fought anyone who really focused on going for it, the roll catches. It's just it wasn't a prominent thing until Dark Souls 2. So we're going to get a couple more fights in. He's using the Dragon Slayer, not Dragon Slayer, but the sword spear thing. Looked a little laggy coming down to it, and he's using a great shield. So this is going to be unpleasant, let me tell you. In fact, do I have that? I don't have that ring. I hate that attack. It's so stupidly awkward to dodge. It really is. I haven't figured out the tell for it quite yet anyway. On the boss and on players, I don't know how to dodge that one. A minor nuisance, to say the very least. There we go, we got someone. Alright, we're going to give it another singular fight, being this one. And then we're going to cut it, because we are getting to that 1 hour point, and I feel like that's just long enough for a random miscellaneous PvP session with me not doing a whole lot of anything. So, we're going to go for it. So what do you have? I know I've fought this guy before too, I just don't remember what he's using. I like how my hat clips through, like, everything. Ah yes, Katana Man. No. That's not a katana. You're the guy with the curved sword from earlier. You're the one who bled me in, like, 3 hits. Right? Do you know me? Do you recognize the name Noros? Not Norris, but Noros. Gotta wait and get that catch. That catch makes a huge difference. I like that. That's the strat right there for this weapon, guys. Wait to get the catch, and then just R1, R1. That's nice. But anyway, guys, we're going to end things here for this episode of Miscellaneous Random Live Commentary PvP. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.